Admiral Jareth Redden stood on the bridge of the Terra Ascendant, his mind occupied by the scale of the conflict. Below him, the Quameno capital Moon, a vast expanse of mangrove forests and shallow seas, orbited gracefully around a gas giant. The first Imperial fleet had deployed in full force, encircling the Moon with the precision of a seasoned war machine. Yet, as the blockade tightened around the isolationist Quameno Guild, Redden knew that this would not be an easy victory. The Quameno Guild was peaceful by nature, but they were far from defenseless. Their technological prowess was renowned across the galaxy, and though their military fleet was small, it was equipped with advanced systems that could rival the best in the Empire's arsenal. Redden's job was to overcome that advantage and maintain the blockade, no matter the cost. Before the conflict reached the Quameno system, however, the Empire had made another significant move, extending its influence into a neighboring star system where the peaceful Wekaris resided. In a distant sector, the Empire had dispatched a colony ship to a deep ocean planet, home to the Wekaris, a race of large crustacean-like beings with distinctive facial mandibles and a peaceful way of life. The Wekaris lived deep beneath the planet's oceans, constructing vast, sprawling cities within the caverns and tunnels of their oceanic world. Though advanced in their own right, they were ill-prepared to resist the Empire's growing reach. Ambassador Alexander Petrov, a shrewd and experienced negotiator, had been sent to secure control over the Wekaris planet. After weeks of tense negotiations, the Wekaris leadership reluctantly conceded, allowing the Empire to construct a spaceport and allow the rapid colonization of 30 million humans into Wekaris underwater cities and the integration of the planet's administration. In exchange, the Empire promised protection and opened trade channels, but the Wekaris knew they had little choice in the matter. This was occupation disguised as diplomacy. As the Empire began establishing its foothold on the Wekaris world, their eyes turned to the next target, the Ikuro, a mysterious and independent race located in a nearby star system. For now, little was known about them, but the Empire's plans were clear. The Wekaris system would serve as a launching point for further expansion into the region, with the eventual goal of bringing the Ikuro under Terran control. But for now, Redden had more immediate concerns, the impending battle with the Quameno Guild. "Admiral, the Quameno fleet is repositioning," Captain Voss reported. "They're preparing to break the blockade." Redden's eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. The Quameno ships, though fewer in number, were formidable. Their shields were known to be among the strongest in the galaxy, powered by advanced energy dispersal technology that could withstand direct hits from even the most powerful weapons. Additionally, their Maxos blasters and Epsilon torpedoes were feared for their destructive capability, capable of ripping through lesser ships with ease. Quameno intercept blasters provided excellent point defense, targeting incoming missiles and smaller ships with terrifying accuracy. Redden knew this battle would test the limits of the First Imperial Fleet. The Terran Empire's ships, while heavily armed, were not invincible. Their main offensive weapons were hail cannons, powerful railguns that fired metal projectiles at incredible speeds, and concussion missiles designed to cause devastating kinetic shockwaves upon impact. While these weapons were brutal in their effectiveness, they would need to break through the Quameno's shields if the blockade was to hold. "All ships, prepare for engagement," Redden ordered. "Tighten the blockade formation. Do not allow them to break through." The Quameno fleet, composed of frigates and escorts, advanced toward the blockade. Despite their smaller numbers, the Quameno ships moved with graceful precision, their advanced shields shimmering as they absorbed the initial volleys from the Terran fleet. Hail cannon rounds slammed into the Quameno frigates, but the shields held, dispersing the energy and minimizing damage. Concussion missiles followed, streaking across the void to impact against the Quameno defenses, causing ripples in the energy fields but failing to penetrate fully. "Concentrate fire on their lead frigate," Redden commanded, his tone calm but firm. "We need to overload their shields." The Imperial ships obeyed, coordinating their fire to overwhelm a single target. Hail cannons fired in quick succession, pounding the same Quameno frigate over and over. Finally, after several moments, the ship's shields faltered, and a well-placed concussion missile breached the hull. The explosion sent debris scattering through space, but the Quameno retaliated swiftly. Their Maxis blasters cut through the void, striking several Terran ships with pinpoint accuracy. The Terran fleet maintained its formation. The Quameno forces pressed their attack, their ships moving with agility and discipline. Their intercept blasters targeted incoming concussion missiles, detonating many before they could reach their targets. Still, the sheer number of Terran ships and the overwhelming firepower of the hail cannons began to take its toll. One by one, the Quameno frigates fell, their shields failing under the sustained attack. The Quameno fleet was taking heavy losses. Admiral Redden watched as the surviving Quameno ships regrouped near their homeworld. Despite their advanced technology and formidable defenses, they had been unable to break through the Imperial blockade. The Terran Empire had held its position, but the cost had been significant. Status report, Redan asked, turning to Voss. Several ships have sustained damage, but we're holding. The Quameno forces are retreating, but they're preparing for another assault, Voss replied. Redan nodded. The Quameno were not giving up easily, but the blockade was holding. It was only a matter of time before the Quameno government would be forced to confront the reality of their situation. The Empire had superior numbers and firepower, and the Quameno's isolationist tendencies had left them with few allies to call upon. Back on New Terra, Emperor Magnus was growing impatient. The Empire's strategy was simple: maintain the blockade and force the Quameno Guild to surrender through attrition. But the Emperor wanted a more decisive victory. He had already ordered the construction of additional transport ships and the recruitment of new strike trooper brigades and heavy armor brigades. The Terran Empire was preparing for a full-scale invasion of the Quameno capital Moon, and Redan knew the orders would arrive soon. When the time came, the Terran ground forces would descend upon the mangrove-covered Moon, sweeping through the shallow seas and forested landscapes to capture the Quameno leadership. The invasion would be costly, but it was the only way to secure the Empire's hold over this critical region of space. Admiral, Captain Voss called out, we've just received confirmation from High Command. The transport fleet is nearly ready. We are to hold the blockade until their arrival. Redan exhaled slowly, his mind racing with plans for the coming assault. The Quameno had fought well, but their resistance would soon be broken. The First Imperial fleet had held the line, and now the future of the Quameno Guild and the balance of power in the galaxy hung in the balance. As Redan gazed out into the stars, he knew that the invasion was inevitable. The countdown to war had begun, and soon the Terran Empire would descend upon the Quameno Moon, forever altering the course of history.